Well, welcome to almost summer Canadian edition. I'm here with Taylor McClendon. It's beautiful out here, Taylor. Finally,
Ah,
we can go running with our legs naked outside, and it's really nice. So I'm in a very happy mood right now. This weekend was glorious. Everyone here is outside and happy and
yes,
smiling and say, finally, after months of living like mushrooms, we can be
we're
outside and
out.
free. I know.
Yes, it's the
And how
same
are
way
you?
here. It's perfect. The weather's great. Mother's Day weekend, everyone was out and about. Lots of
Yeah.
fun. The weather was perfect, not too hot, not too cold. Um, Today it's humid and overcast, but for the weekend it was perfect. A good place to be.
So you finish your mural. Tell us about it.
Well, I got the rough end done. We're
Okay.
not finished. It's
Okay.
just the first layer, if you will, of the process. So it could take a couple. We'll see.
All right.
We're
And
we're
how'd
we're
that go?
uh, so far so good. We'll go for the second one Thursday is when we'll go
Okay.
up again. Just kind of
Hmm.
the way that the week is laid out and with the weather, but that'll give us the next layer, and it'll probably take three to give it the depth perception that we want
Oh,
it to
okay.
have. Because when you're coming down Ninth Avenue, you see this. I mean,
Right.
it's in your face, like it or not. You're gonna look at it.
I'm sure I
So
will like it. I will put
good, bad, or
pictures, by the way.
ugly, it's there whether you like it or not. So we're getting there. It's a lot of fun, and it's a cool thing to do on this historic building here in the neighborhood.
So
So
my kids who are graphic artists would know this, and I don't because I'm just a writer and I couldn't draw to save my life. But that means that you have to go to give depth. Is that what you're doing? Like here I am throwing themed and big words out there. That's
right,
is that what you're doing? Like
depth
layers?
perception, field of view. So when you're staring at the wall, it's not just the gesture. It's shaded, it's contoured, like the Kardashians. So it looks like it's coming out of the
Okay.
wall.
That's excellent. Now I understand. You just have to put
Yes,
it in
put
terms
it
I
into
get.
language. Right, right. The common vernacular of today's society.
So if people are in Huntsville, they're starting Thursday, Friday, and this next weekend, they might see you in action.
See
So
me
that
in
must be
action.
cool to watch. Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So I haven't told you this, but because you met my daughter Catherine when I was
Okay.
down in
Yes,
Alabama
yes.
in April, right? Now Catherine's been traveling everywhere since she was a baby. She's had a passport since she was, I don't know, but she was not even 1 year old. She had her passport and she's used to traveling and showing her passport when you board a plane. Because up here we do this. In Europe, we do this. For some reason, she has not really flown very much in the United States because we tend to drive where we go in the US when I'm with her. And she remarked last time we were there at the Detroit airport where we had the forever long layover that there was already signs for real ID. And she didn't know what it was. And I confess I kind of had to Google it. What the
Mm.
heck is real ID? Do you know about this?
So yes, I heard about this probably 10 years ago, and it
Ah,
was going to be this layer of security. You had to go to where I lived at the time, to the local courthouse in the town square, and take a passport, current ID, a bill at this address, maybe some other things. And they put a big gold star on your driver's license. And it was so you could board the plane. But, here, just like in Canada, we're, we're traveling within the country, so we don't need passports. I guess it was
hmm
their extra layer of security that you're saying you are who you say you are. I
hmm
don't, but with a passport, I don't see why it's needed.
Yeah, no, we don't need it because we have the passport, but we were just curious as to, and we realized this. I mean, I've been flying in the US for some time, but
Right.
she had not realized you could just board a plane with nothing but your boarding pass. Once you're through security, they check you there, but after that, you just go to your gate and you board your flight. You just show your phone, tap your phone down,
Tap your
and
phone.
off you go.
Uh-huh.
And in Canada, you have to show your passport or government issued photo ID
Right.
every single time you board a plane because they check that. Because and same in Europe, right? Everyone checks your papers all the time, and there's been this resistance in the U.S. domestically. I get that not everybody has a passport. If you never travel outside the country, maybe you don't
Mm,
need one, and that's fine.
right.
But to show who you are, I mean, after 9/11, like, isn't that like minimum kind of security? What's anyway, I never quite understood what the big deal was, but it came into force this past week or 10 days ago, and it created such a big here
A big
and
to
massive
do on the
lineups. Yeah, yeah,
news,
yeah.
right? And it's the weird thing is if you don't have it. Oh, excuse me. you can still get through, but you have to go like to the back office and get an extra,
Right.
touch and grab that are already awkward. Um,
I call this a morning tickle when I get one.
right. Like,
Yeah.
but when you have
Hmm.
to go for a second one, I don't get it.
Yeah.
An ID is
Hmm.
an ID. If it's state issued, government issued, then it should suffice. But
Yeah, most people have some kind of ID, right? Driver's license,
right,
something. Anyway,
something.
so that's just me.
Anyway,
So we were surprised by that. So good. Now it's there, and I haven't seen
so,
many news
and
stories past the first day. So I guess America will recover from that
I've been
one.
listening to it for a decade, and it's been on and I'm just like, moving on. Let's just.
You have your star? You're good?
I have my star. I'm good, but what we need to worry about is keeping our damn radars blipping. We don't need to worry about these IDs. That's the bigger problem is the skies over Newark going dark. Just
That
whenever
has
they want
been
to. Is that
such a
not wild?
nightmare.
And they're
Yeah.
worried about our driver's license with a pretty little gold star on it. I mean, keep the radars on, and then we'll talk about my driver's license.
I know because
In
that has been
reality,
going on for a week or so, and there's maintenance on the runways. Apparently, they have fewer runways than usual, and then they also are running out of FAA type air
because they're
traffic
dropping
controllers,
like
which
flies.
and I don't know why this is happening, but like this should be like priority number one. It's get the staffing you need so that planes can
Right,
come up and down
right.
safely. And Newark is already. I mean, I spent more
It's
time than I
busy.
care to remember at Newark. That's one of my typical hubs. So Chicago, Atlanta, Newark, Nashville,
All the
Detroit.
places.
I
Yes,
spent a
yes.
lot of time there. And Newark is I know all where all the cool beers are. Like
Oh.
because I've been spending a lot of time when you fly to Canada, they have long layovers. That's one of those things.
Mm.
So I know the airports, but yeah, it's already busy enough. Like imagine if they can't. Ooh,
We
that would
can't
be a
get our
nightmare. So,
airport FAA priorities in line down here. We're worried about
mm.
driver's license instead of,
Did you
the real
see before we get
issues.
before we get to the other things I wanted to talk to you about? Did you see that our prime minister survived his ordeal in the Oval Office without getting Zelensky'd?
Right. So,
The
and I've
bar
got,
was so low, we tripped on it, but he did it.
but
Like he did well.
let me tell
Yeah,
you, down here in the United States, if you're in the Oval Office, you don't want to get Lewinsky'd, Zelensky'd. You don't want to get Insky'd in the Oval
that's
Office
right.
because it will never lead to a good place.
That's
Just
right.
avoid the Inskys in the office.
Yeah.
It's
So
sad
that
but
was
true.
good. And then I don't know if you noticed this because up here we did. Like after the visit, the White House released what we call in the news business a sizzle reel. So kind of
Oh,
like almost like a Kardashian. So it was the White House and how Donald Trump was happy to have welcomed this. I forget the exact words he said. People can go look it up. But it was released as, friendly relationships and this whole thing, welcoming the new Prime Minister Mark Carney, blah blah blah. Like he never does this for anybody. And we were
mhm.
like, wow, I guess our guy is doing well so far. So far, so good. So we're going to
So
keep it
far, so
going.
good.
I know.
Ah,
What I wanted to talk to you about this week, so I took notes and I had to look at them because it's been a day already. Um,
oh,
no, it's okay. It's all good.
let me get my
We
notebook out.
well, if I don't have notes, if I don't write things down, like half of it goes out of my head.
Mm,
But I'm back again with this bit, and I know, and I keep coming down on Alabama for this. It's not just Alabama where you can get a gun and just, with that, like it's easier to get a gun really than it is to get a THC gummy. But
you are
now there's some
correct.
regulations coming out, but it's not the only state where this is the truth. But it's the one I know and I love, so I talk about it. So there's regulations for that and also for vaping, because as is happening everywhere, vaping, especially among teenagers, is a
It's,
big thing, right?
mhm.
I mean, my kids talk about it in high school because they hate it because all the other kids go to the washrooms to vape because it's something you can kind of hide, right? It's not like cigarettes. It
Right.
doesn't smell as much
It's
and it's
fruity.
terrible for you. I don't know if it's pretty. Is it?
No,
Ooh.
it's
Um,
fruity smelling.
oh, fruit. Oh, ooh.
Fruit,
Well, that's
it always
worse.
smells good.
Mm.
It doesn't smell like a cigarette.
Right, right. And then it dissipates quickly. So the kids are into this a lot. And then people want to regulate them in here too. But and every time I'm like, do you guys know? I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, regulations didn't stop me.
No,
Okay. So it's the
not at
same
all.
today.
It's
And
it's
yeah, okay.
we just smoked cigarettes when I was young. That we didn't have the vape option, but you weren't supposed to smoke, and that's just what we did because
Well,
they
I'm
said,
so old. Yeah. In my high school, we could. When
right.
I went to high school, there was a smoking section for
Hmm.
students. Because
It's
that's
the
all.
good old days.
Well, no, not really, but now that I think of it, I think the
You
kids
know,
today
I'm
have
not
it
so
better,
mad
but
about it. If I had to go to school today with, I don't know. I think I just much prefer it when I went through it. It was a little
yeah.
more laid back.
It was, yeah, more mellow, right? I mean, plus we didn't have
Yes,
any metal detectors or any of this stuff or
our cell phones with videos,
that too. Oh, I'm so,
that
you know
part.
what? This is saving my bacon that there was no pictures and no Facebook. I was like,
Right. No
I'm good now.
evidence, no
Yeah,
evidence.
no, I mean,
Yes.
you can't prove a thing, so it's your word against mine, buddy.
Right.
Um, and I'm good with my word, so good luck if you want to try and catch me in something.
Right.
Oh, Juneteenth is going to be a official holiday in Alabama now,
Yes. This is what I'm
and
hearing.
yeah,
It's,
and for go ahead.
I was just saying, the strange part is that I heard it from you before I heard it from anything in the state of Alabama.
I am well informed.
You
But your
are.
governor, Kay Ivey, that's how you pronounce her name, right?
Meemaw. No,
Mima,
Meemaw.
she, yeah, she was in the news saying that she was glad to sign this. And so, for people who don't know, in Canada, not everybody knows what Juneteenth is, but it's the anniversary of, or when we, because slavery was abolished at different times in different states. But June 19th is the one that's considered like the end of slavery
Mhm.
in the last bit of enforcement of the Emancipation Act in Texas, if I read
Texas.
my notes correctly.
Mhm.
So that was the last bit, and so that's why it's celebrated as so June 19th, Juneteenth. So that's becoming a thing, and I know it's a federal holiday, and most states are also
Mhm.
marking it, and now Alabama is part of this, so that's cool.
It is cool. It took long enough here, but if you look at where Meemaw lives, I know that's not her house, but it is the house of the governor of the state of Alabama. Nobody in that house it will celebrate Juneteenth unless
Why's that?
you, well, you just, it's just a big antebellum home to everything that Juneteenth
Mm,
is not. Alabama is just very, it's weird. I mean, they signed off on it finally, but it's like, I feel like it's just going through the motions because before they said just last year, they celebrated Jefferson Davis's birthday, which was the one and only president of the Confederacy. So it's
mm,
hard for me to take them seriously here in
hmm.
Alabama. I mean, for Christ's sakes, we just had Donald Trump speaking at the University of Alabama. You know, our governor George Wallace stood on the steps of the University of Alabama to try to stop segregation, and now they're penciling this holiday in. I'm glad that it's there, but I just don't buy it with this bunch down here.
Mm.
They're a crooked bunch of scoundrels.
So this is the part where I tell everyone about when I go to, Huntsville, and they say, Alabama, what the hell are you doing in Alabama? And it's, well, Huntsville is different.
It's different,
And
but
I would think that, yes,
if you look at Meemaw's house in Montgomery, it's going to
right?
tell you everything you need to know. It's like the Colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken used to live there. It is that antebellum, you know,
Like in Gone with the
yesteryear.
Wind,
Yes, big and
like in
white.
that movie.
You're
Mm.
right.
So how do we move from that? I
I
know
don't
you don't have
know,
all the answers, but
but you
it's
know,
like,
I'm just
geez.
it. It's they're making a big deal about it. I'm like that. I don't know.
Mm,
I don't know, but it was
mm.
strange that I heard that coming from you before on any of the news here. I'm sure they
I'm well
published it,
informed.
but
Yeah.
right, but it's it should be talked about more here in the state. If it was a bigger deal, I
Yeah.
would think. Yeah.
Well, maybe, I
So
don't know. I'll keep an eye out. I hope it is.
keep
I
an eye.
do
Yes,
also, yeah, I also know that there was a court case. So the federal and the American judicial system sometimes is a little confusing
it is.
even for me. Like I have a law degree and I'm like still lost in your system. But there was a federal court last week, I want to say that again came down hard on so gerrymandering. Everybody knows about it. Redistricting, we know about this. We do the same
Right,
thing.
right,
Population changes, so the limits of various electoral districts change to make sure, in theory, to make sure that they remain nice and fair to everyone depending on where people are moving, right?
right.
So we do this here as well. But there's been this case for a few years now where there were a few districts. Oh, now I forget exactly where they were in the state, not in Huntsville, that were they were set up in such a way that it was a disadvantage to Black voters.
Right.
And the federal court came down with a ruling saying that the Alabama Commission, or whatever the outfit that does these things, was doing it on purpose. And
Absolutely.
now they have
Yes.
to change that. Yeah. And I saw this because, I mean, I knew this fight was kind of in the background, but it was Barack Obama, the former president, who tweeted something about some black rights advocacy groups in Alabama who'd been leading this fight, and he was congratulating them on this victory. And what I just want to point out about this, I mean, I know it's a long, complicated story, and we don't need to put everyone to sleep with this, all the details of this. But it was a panel of three judges. And what I noticed about this was one had been appointed by Clinton, so older judge, obviously, and the other two were Trump appointees from his first term. And yet they came down hard on this. So this is the kind of stuff. I know I may sound naive when I come with this, but like, I'm the benevolent outsider, and I look at all of this and I say, I see signs of hope in each one of those little steps. And I know it's going slowly. Damn it. If we don't recognize the little good bits in the right direction, we won't get more of them,
We will get
right?
more. Yes. And that's happening on a state level
Mm,
is huge because just within the last 5, 6 years, even here in Huntsville, the same story with our school districts. And resources were going to certain school districts that certain kids weren't getting to go to with all these
mm,
resources.
mm-hmm.
And so now they've changed the districts, and some kids may have to get on a bus in North Huntsville and ride all the way down South Parkway to get to school. And
Right.
it's just getting here, a step in the right direction. But we need to distribute the resources accordingly.
Hmm.
But we're getting there, I guess. We're just a little
Yeah.
slow to get there.
Yeah, and that's fair. And then there's a history, right? Like, clearly, because of the history, people look at, you with like these, a scrunch on your face. But then
Right,
you look at things up here, Canada's so nice and so progressive, right?
right.
Well, there's still a hospital in Manitoba, it's a province somewhere in the middle of the country,
Mhm.
uh, that is named after a doctor who in the 40s and 50s did experiment on indigenous children where he starved them to see what would
Mm,
happen.
mm.
And the hospital is still named after him in 2025.
Well,
We're slow.
it's
We're slow too on some stuff.
and that's funny you bring that up because here in Huntsville, everything is Warner von Braun, and in
Right.
German, like nobody's going to speak that name in Germany, and we've got
Right.
our civic center's named after him. It's just,
That's right.
just kind of,
Mm.
I guess it's all relative. My family is buried in Nathaniel Bedford Forest Cemetery, right off Forest Avenue. It's it's just the South, and it's what do you? I don't know.
Societies are complex, and this is where
Very much
I
so.
mean, and I love being there, feeling it, trying to absorb it, and tell those stories,
It's the
because you want to inspire the right bits and try to discourage from the other bits. It's kind of like parenting, I guess. You're trying to reward the
mm,
good things and highlight the good things, but there are good things. That's what I keep. That's what
absolutely.
keeps me going. And
It's
I've
it's a it's a beautiful place with a sordid past, But I guess that's like anybody.
I was gonna say, yeah, we have some of that up
We
here
all
too.
have those, but let me tell you, ain't nobody got one like my aunt does. She's got the most sordid past.
Oh, yeah, I know you talked about her a fair bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she's something else.
And people who follow you on Facebook can
They'll
follow
know
that
about her.
story.
Yes, that's a sidebar.
Uh-huh. Right. So this week for you is the second
Second
layer.
installation coming on Thursday.
All right.
But I'm getting a
Anything else
nice
going
tan
on?
being outside. That's it.
No. Yeah. Well, that's busy enough. I mean, sometimes you got to focus on one big project and just get her done.
Right. 40 feet's enough right now.
That's good. Well, I do look forward to seeing it, and I'm sure you'll post more pictures of it. And
Yes, yes.
yeah, and we'll keep our eye out for good, encouraging news stories, and maybe there'll be more, collapsing of society in airports where people have to show a picture ID with a little star on it, and we'll
Right.
laugh a little bit about that.
Yes. We got to
Okay.
laugh. All right.
All
Have a
right.
good
You
week.
have a great week.
Bye
Bye.
bye.